How much salary do you need to buy a house in Glen Heights? If you're watching this video, chances are you're considering moving to Glen Heights or just curious to see where the heck Glen Heights even is. Because I recognize that this is a smaller, one of the smaller cities, or if you want to call it a town, I'm going to call it a city for now. I'll probably use it interchangeably, but just one of the smaller cities that we cover here on the YouTube channel. But with that being said, I really do like the Glen Heights real estate prices. I do appreciate Glen Heights because I drive through it almost every single day. And this is part of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in all fairness. And it's one of the cities that we actively place a lot of clients in because of the real estate prices and its proximity to the western side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So today we're going to go into how much salary we actually need in order to purchase a home in Glen Heights, and we're going to go through three different scenarios. We're going to go in through the least expensive home. We're going to price that out so you can see how much salary you need in order to purchase there. The medium price in the city, and then we're going to go with the luxury price in Glen Heights. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's get moving because we got a lot of ground to cover in such a short amount of time. All right, so Glen Heights, how much do we need in order to purchase a home in Glen Heights? Well, to get started, we're going to go on to the web portal. So here it's highmirrorsense.exprealty.com. This is the website that is, well, one, mine, but two, gives us access to the MLS. As you can see right now in the MLS, there's 81 homes available for sale at an average of $452,000. That is what's happening right now. So we're going to go there, and we're going to take out the other type of real estate. We're not really interested in those at the moment. We're only looking at single family. So we're going to hit the search button. All right, so let's talk about Glen Heights because there's a lot to talk about. I was right. I said west, didn't I? So sorry, I always have to go like east, west, and then I said west. I'm sorry, I instinctively said east, and then I second guessed myself and went west. So don't think that I don't know my directions. It's just challenging sometimes. So Glen Heights, it is one of the smaller cities that we cover in the Metroplex, as mentioned earlier, but it's one of those cities that has some reasonable real estate prices that puts us fairly close to where a lot of our clients want to be. So whenever we're looking at the east side, got it right that time, side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we are looking for homes that generally are not as expensive. So we find a good amount in Glen Heights. We find a good amount of opportunities over here in Hutchins. We find a good opportunities amount in Seagoville. So right around this area, when you're looking in Lancaster for sure, when you're looking at an area that has reasonable real estate prices, and when I say reasonable, I mean the among the lower price that you're going to find in the area, and that'll get you close to Dallas. This is really what we're talking about. So Glen Heights, Lancaster, Hutchins, Seagoville. Where are we? Bosch Springs, and all the way up to Forney and Crandall and all that fun stuff. But basically right in through here, these are the areas that we look for that builders are still building because there's still some areas, and also the real estate prices are among the lowest in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. All right, so with that being said, let's get into our breakdown. We're going to go right into it. Now, first off, we're going to remove myself. We're going to see the type of real estate that's available for sale at the present moment, because we're going to use the lowest priced home right now. So this home right here, we're going to put it into our max price calculator that you'll see here shortly, and see how much salary we actually need to make in order to purchase a home in Glen Heights. That is our mission for today. So we're going to look at the least expensive home, which is about $255 right now. So it has 1,400 square feet, 4-bed, 2-bath, and it looks like it's a rehab if I'm looking at this correctly. So $255 is the least expensive home, and as you can see, there's not as many in the 200s here. Now, most of the inventory that you're going to see is going to be roughly in the 400s or so, give or take, and quite a few in the 300s. But just for the look at the real estate that you're able to purchase for the 300s, this is very, very reasonable. You get a good amount of area. So here you're looking at 2,700, 2,400, 2,400 square feet, 2,400 square feet, 2,200 square feet. So over 2,000 square feet, and you're still under $400,000. That is rare in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So whenever I say that the prices are reasonable, I absolutely mean it. There's 61 properties for sale right now in Glen Heights, and we are in the low 400s, and we are already seeing some new construction here. So we have new construction, new construction. This is new construction, new construction, new construction. So under 400, just a little bit over $400,000, you're in the new construction inventory, which is phenomenal. All right, so for the average price point, we're gonna be making the calculation at, let's say 460 sounds about right. 460 is gonna be the second price point that we do a calculation on. Again, our goal here is to find out how much we need to make in order to purchase a home in Glen Heights, and we're going to use 3 of these properties to do so: the lowest price, and the medium price, and the luxury price, or the most expensive home, which happens to be a $667,000 home, which is over 4,300 square feet. It's a massive house, as you can see, and most of the new construction that you're seeing here is new construction altogether. So you're looking at relatively a new, when you look at the age of the home, whatever home you end up going with in Glen Heights, the average age for this town is probably going to be in the, I would say 15 years, which is nothing, which is absolutely nothing, because you see a lot of new construction here. All right, so let's hop into are we gonna need this tool? I don't think so. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're not gonna need that. All right, so let's start talking about Glen Heights and do our math based off of that. So we're gonna purchase, what did we say? It was, I remember the middle one was 460 is what we were gonna calculate. And then our luxury price is 668. We'll round up. That's what we're going to calculate there. And the lowest price home was 255. So these are the numbers that we're going to be working with today. This is how much we're going to attempt to purchase with the salary that we have, or based make some calculations on how much we actually need to earn in order to get these properties bought. All right, so what you're seeing right now is the max price calculator. Now this max price calculator is linked down below. The whole goal of this calculator is to show you how much of a home, or essentially how much you can purchase for the salary that you have. So we're gonna be taking some external factors here based off of mortgage interest rates, property tax rates, insurance, and price. So we're gonna put all that information from the externality, and then we're gonna give this calculator our income plus our debt, and it's gonna spit out how much we can afford. So this is what we're gonna be doing today in our exercise, and we're gonna find out what our salary needs to be to purchase a home in Glen Heights for $255,000, $460,000, and $668,000. So this is linked down below. Make sure you check this out. This is a tool that you get access to. Now, if you don't see it down there for whatever reason because I forgot, then just go to Win the House You Love, which is the creator of this YouTube channel. I'm sorry, of this tool, the max price calculator tool. And his name is Kyle Seagrave. So show him some love. His YouTube channel is Win the House You Love. This is the exact same tool that we use here internally to do all of our discovery calls. All right, so let's talk about down payment. Down payment for this particular purchase, we're gonna say we're gonna buy this property for 5% down. Why 5%? Well, because most of our clients end up putting 5% down. They don't do the minimum, which some of them do, but many of them do not do the minimum, which in this particular case, for if you're getting a conventional loan as an example, the minimum down payment would be 3%. That's a conventional loan. If you go in an FHA loan, which is another type of loan product, the minimum down payment would be 3.5%. So those are the minimums to get into this home when you're looking at those two products, which again is conventional and FHA. Those are the two most common loans out there. Now, they being our clients, a lot of them don't do 20% down to purchase a home. That 20% is, think of it like a benchmark. It's not that, I know there's some myth out there that you need 20% down to purchase a home. Where that 20% comes into play is if you put anything less than 20% down in the purchase of your home with a conventional or an FHA, you're paying what's called mortgage insurance. So again, if you do less than 20% down with an FHA loan or a conventional loan, you're paying mortgage insurance. Now that mortgage insurance is an insurance that the lender put on you in the event that you default. So not only do they get to take the property back, but they also have some insurance. That's what it is, insurance that from your foreclosure, if you will. So from that standpoint, you are paying additional premium or expense or fee or percentage or whatever you want to call it in mortgage insurance. And you're going to calculate, we're going to calculate it here today. So you get to see what that actually costs you per month. So that's a little bit more about down payment. The last thing that I'll say about the down payment is if you put less than 20% down, this mortgage insurance exists. But the last thing that I'll say here is that if you get a conventional loan, that mortgage insurance eventually goes away. On paper, it goes away in about 10 years. When you factor in appreciation, it goes away within like 7 or 8 years, depending on how fast the real estate market is appreciating. So conventional, eventually the mortgage insurance goes away once you get to 20% ownership of your home. With an FHA loan, that mortgage insurance never goes away. Those are two big distinctions. All right, so with that being said, I think we have a good grasp on what down payment is. But if we missed something, let me know in the comment section down below. And a like is gonna go a long way. Make sure that the algorithm knows that this content is valuable for other people to consume. So a like again is gonna be very appreciated. All right, so let's start talking about the interest rate. What interest rate do we have available to us today? Now, your today may be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, depending on when you're watching this video. So the best thing for you to do when you're watching this video is to go to what is the interest rate today? What is the interest rate right now for buying a home or some variation of this? You don't have to be exact. Once you Google that, you're going to most likely see bank rate be number 1 in the SEO. So just click on bank rate, and by the time you're watching this video, it's going to look probably different. But here you could either go down here to where it says as of Sunday, which is the time of this recording, the interest rate is 6.52% for a 30-year and a 5.85 for a 15-year. Or you could just look up here. So there's, depending on what it looks like, the interface looks like, you get to see it up here. So for our purposes today, we're going to use 6.56%. That is the interest rate that we're going to be playing with. Now for the length of the mortgage, we're going to use the most common length, with just 30 years. Now 30 years it can also be a 15-year, it can be a 20-year, you can go less than that, but 30 years seems to be about right. Now, property taxes, hang in here for a quick second. This is hopefully where you get the most bang for your buck when you're looking at this particular series of the salary needed to buy in a specific city. In this city, we're talking about Glen Heights. Property taxes are another world here in Texas. So one thing to understand, when you buy a property anywhere, but when you buy a property, you're paying property taxes. So that's something that if you were renting or you're leasing, that might not be something that you've been accustomed to. So whenever you buy a property, you're paying property taxes on the assessed, I'm very specific with my words here, the assessed value of the home. And we'll talk about the differences here shortly. You're paying property taxes on that. The second thing to understand is that here in Texas, you have higher property tax rates than most of the other states in the country. Now, it's a kind of a trade-off because here we do not have state income tax, so that's awesome. But when it comes to property tax rates, Texas has the 6th highest in the country, with New Jersey being number 1. Right? So the second thing to understand is that Texas has high property taxes. There's no way around it. I'm just shooting it to you straight. The third thing to understand is that when you buy a house here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which we are here in this particular case, we're talking about Glen Heights, and we're going through 3 different types of properties and different price points. We are looking for up to 5 property tax numbers, or 5 numbers that are going to need to be added together to give us a true property tax rate. So I'll say that one more time. When you buy a property here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, since we are in Glen Heights right now, we are looking for up to 5 numbers that we're going to add together to give us our property tax rate. So it's not just the way that it's written out is 2.21%. This was from a previous video. So we need to find out today's Glen Heights property tax rate. So hopefully this is making sense so far. So what are these 5 numbers that I keep talking about? So up to 5 numbers. The first 3 are these: the city tax rate, the county tax rate, and the ISD tax rate. So I'll say that again: city tax rate, county tax rate, and the ISD tax rate. These 3 numbers are you're gonna need to find regardless of the city that you're buying in. So since we're here in Glen Oaks, we're talking about Red Oak, we're talking about DeSoto, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, whatever the case may be, any of the cities that you're considering, you need to find those 3 numbers and add them together for sure. The other two numbers that I'm alluding to sometimes show up depending on the city. Not all cities assess these other 2 numbers, but they can find their way into the world. And that is the higher education tax, so think of community college, and the hospital network tax. So if you're in Dallas, think of Parkland. If you're in Fort Worth, think of JPS Health Network. So again, these 2 numbers can show up, but it depends on the city. So again, the first 3 that we have to find, regardless, come heck or high water, we're getting the city tax rate, the county tax rate, and the ISD, and then the other 2 may show up here. So it's our job to investigate, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to do Glen Heights property tax rate. So we're going to straight up Google. All right, so here's why this is so important that we understand what we're looking for before we even start searching. Because if we were to just look for, hey, what's the property taxes for Glen Heights, and if you're anything like me, I would just look at the first answer, not bother trying to search for additional information, and just call that good. And if we were to do that, we would see that it's 0.77%. And if we were to take that number and only that number, we would be in trouble because that is not the entire picture. Property tax rates here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex range from 1.8% on the super low, like the ultra low. This is the South Lakes, the Colleyvilles of the world that have this type of low property taxes, all the way to the higher, like 3%. So you're looking at 1.8 to about 3%. That's the range in property taxes, right? So this, if we were to just take 0.77% here that you're seeing, right out of the gate, we know that we're wrong because it's only showing one of the numbers that we need. So what do we need to do? Let's click through. Actually, let's go to the website first. Let's go to the city website. So we're going to go to their website first and see if they give us the entire picture. And they do not, which is not uncommon. Not uncommon at all. Many cities make it very challenging for you to find these numbers. They may show you the city tax rate, but they don't show you anything beyond that. So if the city is not going to show you that, you're going to go to the county second to try to find it. So these 2, I'm going to guess we're going to find it. But I'm curious to see what this county profiles is. It looks a little bit kind of official, but it might not be. Okay, well, this is not an official website either. However, actually, no, there's no however. This doesn't give us all the information we need anyway. All right, so we're going to go to the default. So again, if we can't find the information on the city itself, in the city website, we're going to go to the county website and we're going to find it there. So let's go to, this is a calculator that I'm not a big fan of, but we're going to make it work. All right, well, I'm not a big fan of this one, mostly because it tends to crash my software, my streaming software. So it's more of a personal issue than anything. So let's see here and see if we can get the information. I would prefer this, but we're going to give this a shot. We're going to give this a shot because I want to show you what we're talking about. All right. So let's say the house is $100,000. This doesn't matter. I just want to I'm going to use $100,000. So when I hit calculate, it gives us the exact, the percentage. All right. So we're talking about Glen Heights, right? So whenever we click through, let's just say we're going to buy this house like we've been saying for a little while. Glen Heights. when you click through, if there's any question on what the heck, what county and all that stuff, find a property that you're interested in and get the information from there. So this is Dallas County. It's going to be important for us to do the calculation on. And then down here, you're going to see the school district that you're in. So this is DeSoto. So that's what we're going to end up using here. So county, we know it's in Dallas County because we're talking about Glen Heights. So it gives us the estimate already. The city, we are in Glen Heights, so that's going to pop up already. Which, as you can see, remember when we Googled it? I don't want to backtrack real quick, but remember when we Googled and this was like, they gave us, the first answer gave us 0.77% or something like that. See how wrong that was? Now, I understand that was 2021 number, but this information, unless you know what you're looking for, can get a little bit complex. Don't allow it to. That's why I try to break this down as much as possible, and that's why we spend so much time talking about I feel like this channel needs to be called Property Taxes Explained instead of the DFW Homeowner, because all of our live streams that we do, I spend so much time on property taxes, so my apologies. All right, so we just saw that school district was DeSoto. Every time I click on it, it backs up, so I might not click on it again. Now, these special district taxes, typically, not all the time, but typically you're going to see tours a little bit further out from the city. So this is where you're going to see like the MUDs, the PIDs. Like a MUD is a municipal utility district. PIDs, I forget what PID stands for, is to be completely public something. Well, it's not a pelvic inflammatory disease. It is public improvement district. Why do I always forget that one? I get the municipal one right, but anyway. So the special district, we're gonna leave this blank with Glen Heights because most likely we don't have that, unless there's something here that calls it out. But I do not believe we're gonna have it here in Glen Heights. So the other two. So remember, let's go back to the core five that we were talking about. The city, we got. The county, we got, which is Dallas. The ISD, we got, which is DeSoto. And then the other two that will oftentimes come up is Parkland and the hospital network and the higher education. Now, here's the thing. I personally have no way of knowing if we're going to get into the... Well, actually, I do have a way of knowing. But do I want to take that route? All right, since I like y'all, since it's a Sunday and it's the Lord's Day, let's I'll find it real quick. So what I was gonna say is, the reason that I prefer going to the website, and hopefully the website shows it, is because the city website will show you if there's a hospital or a higher education tax rate to contend with. Here, this calculator just shows these by default. It's not that these exist in Glen Heights. It's just that this is the way that the calculator was built. This is also another reason that I'm not the biggest fan of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the CAD, so Dallas County Central Appraisal District. And what we're going to do is we're going to search for property. Now, I'm not showing y'all this on screen because YouTube does not like it when I dox people. And neither do I. So I am going to find this property because, again, I'm trying to be nice today. And we're going to find all the taxes that come with this. So this, again, I'm not going to put any owners on blast, but I am going to say that this is owned by an investor. All right. So in this particular property, let me see. Can I show this? I just need to make sure that there's no... Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to make sure that there's no identifiable information, because again, that would get this video taken down. All right, so let's talk about this. This is the exact property that we just looked at. So that I pulled up when I was looking at it. So we have the city tax rate, which is right here, which is the exact same number that we've been working with. Where is it? The exact same number that we were working with. We have the school district, so DeSoto ISD. We have the county, which is right here. We have the college, which we are including in this particular case because it is included here. And you have Parkland right here. And there's no special district. So the fact that we were not going to include a special district, we got that right. So folks, we got an A+. We got an A+, and I was about to say that really happens, but I'd be lying to you. It happens a lot because we're pretty good at property taxes. Anyway, so when it looks at what we're talking about with property taxes, we are gonna need these three numbers. Let me calculate real quick, and it'll give us the tax rate. So this, if it's $100,000 property and our property taxes would be $2,182, that means that our property tax rate is 2.18%. So this would be 2,118. Just the way that this was written, it's going to show that way, but just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So 2.18% is our property tax rate. Now, I know I showed you a lot, and like, you know, hopefully if you're buying in Glen Heights, and you don't have to do this again, you already have the answer. But now, even if you're not buying in Glen Heights and you go to Red Oak, well, if you don't see our other YouTube live stream that we did on Red Oak, then you could calculate it yourself, which is going to be the exact same way. Going over to the Google search, looking for their specific number on their website. If not, you could just do what we just did here. Right, so I'll X out of that again because oh no, I X'd out of the wrong one. I meant to X out of the CAD. But anyway, this is what we're talking about. This is the property tax rate. I know we spent 10 minutes on it, but it's super important. Now, if you have any questions on it, let me know in the comment section down below. But property taxes are a real deal. You're paying property taxes every single year. Think you're paying property taxes on 2.8%. So that's a big number. That's a big number. You saw there that particular property, which was whatever it happened to be assessed at, it was like $5,400 per year. That can add up. Insurance rate. The insurance rate that we apply here is just an estimate. So the insurance premium that you're going to be paying per month, we're doing an approximate. So we're doing an estimate here. And what we do is multiply 0.75. This is what this is 0.75%. This is, we're essentially saying it's a percentage. So this is 0.75%. I know it's written a little bit wonky, but this is essentially how it's written. So what this is doing is multiplying 0.0075 times the value of the home. And this gives us the yearly premium of the home insurance, which you'll see in our affordability dashboard. You'll see what that comes out to monthly. Mortgage insurance, we're pretending that we're getting a conventional loan and that we have good credit. We're not putting excellent credit, but we're putting, good credit, fair credit. And that's what we're going to use to estimate how much our mortgage insurance is going to be every single month. Yearly HOAs in Glen Heights, since we are buying most likely a new home in Glen Heights. I know this one isn't a new home, but there's so much new construction. You see half of the inventory of the 61 properties for sale in Glen Heights are new construction. You're going to be going into an HOA. And what that means is, since most of the inventory is new construction, 85% of the homes that get sold in new construction zone, like that get built new, go straight into an HOA. So it's not going to be very avoidable. So we're going to budget that in. So yearly HOAs, we're going to put $400 as an estimate. We're not going to worry about the income tax for now. We're just going to go straight into how much we make. For our purposes, again, we're trying to find out how much we need to make in order to buy a house at $255,000. Then we're going to go up, and then we're going to go up to the luxury part in Glen Heights. So we're going to start off with something like $40,000. That's what we're going to pretend we make right now in yearly gross income. So that's going to be our starting point. Now, once we have our starting point, when it comes to gross income, you're going to know how much you make per year. You're just going to put that in there. Once you put that in, you're going to also need to complement it with the debt that you have. So debt is student loans, it's credit card payments, child support, personal loans, car loans. That's what debt is. Don't confuse it for expenses. Expenses is your phone bill, it's your gas, your food, your normal stuff, right? So these are the differences. So the expenses, they're already factored into the ratio that this calculator does on the back end. It's called the debt to income ratio. There's already a certain number already baked in that is accounting for expenses. So there's a certain percentage that the lenders factor in that is being used as expenses for you to live. Now, what you do want to add is the debt component. So again, if you have student loans, car loans, whatever the case may be, you're going to add them here. Now, again, this is linked down below. This max price calculator is linked down below. So once you get it, just go to File, make a copy, save it to your drive, and you're good to go. There, you're going to be able to name your debt and then put the minimum monthly payment that you're making on that debt. Make sure that you put the minimum. Don't put what you're actually paying, because some of you are paying more to get rid of the debt quicker. Put the minimum, because this is what the lender's going to use, not what you're actually paying. So this is any debt that you have, you're going to add it here. Now, if you have a co-borrower, same thing. Put their yearly income and then also the minimum debt that you're paying, the minimum monthly payment that you're paying on this debt. This is what you would be using. All right, so for our purposes today, we're going to say that we paid off our debt. God has been good. We're going to say we have no debt and we make $40K, and let's see how much we can afford. So once we go over to this next tab, we're going to see, can we hit that $255,000 mark that we're trying to buy a home in? All right, so I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to explain it here shortly. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to this range here that is being presented to us. So based off of the $40,000 a year mark, can we afford that $250,000? Well, no, we cannot. The most that we could purchase a property for with our profile, with our income, is $167,000. Now, this is what we call a risky loan. Now, is there like a technical term? Like, is risky like an official term? No, it's an internal, just to give you kind of some guardrails, if you will. So you can go into a safe loan, conservative loan, moderate loan, aggressive loan, which basically lets you know what percentage of net income are you paying towards your housing expense. So there's a difference between 33% of your income going to your housing expense versus double that of 61%. So whenever we do our consults here internally at the DFW Homeowner Group here with our agents, we never advise. I don't use never a lot unless it's necessary. But here we do not suggest ever going into a risky loan, and also we don't even entertain the aggressive loans. We try to go between moderate and aggressive in terms of where we want the loans to be. We just find that that's a good value or that's a good estimate from where we want our clients to be, so they're not as overly stressed as one could possibly be when they're looking for a home. So that's a good mix of, the income that you're making plus the real estate that you can purchase based off of that, and be comfortable without feeling like you're overextending yourself. So what we do whenever we do our breakdowns and our analysis, we need that. Remember, we're trying to hit $255,000. That's what we're trying to buy. Well, we need that number to fall between here. So we need that number to be below and that number to be higher than this. So what does that mean? We need to go and get a raise. So let's say we make $55,000. Let's see how much home we can afford. So we still see that even on the riskiest loan, we are not there yet. So we still need to get this $255,000 right in between there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to put $70,000. Let's say if we make $70,000, how much we can afford. Well, if we make $70,000, we would be able to buy this house for $255,000. So that is our income necessary to buy the least expensive home in Glen Heights. Because why? Well, because that 255 that we were looking for falls right in between the moderate and the aggressive. Now, could you have bought this home earlier? Meaning if you made 60,000 or 65, probably. I just would not feel comfortable making that recommendation. I don't want us to be house poor is essentially what I'm saying here. So whenever we do our calculations, we try to shoot for this. between the moderate and the aggressive. We certainly don't get into the aggressive or the risky part. So for our purposes today, the way that we do our math, we would need $70,000 to buy this home. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to see how much we need to make in order to buy a $460,000 home in Glen Heights. With our parameters having already been established, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the boss and we're going to get a raise. We're going to go get a raise. So let's say we make $95,000 now. Can we buy this $460,000 home? So we're going to go back here, and we cannot. The most that we could buy is a $402,000 property. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the well. We're going to go back to the boss, and we're going to work overtime and get that raise one more time. And that means $110,000. And I forgot the number that we're shooting for, 460. Technically, we could. But again, I do not feel comfortable making a recommendation past the aggressive into the risky part. So what we're going to do is we're going to go work extra hard and we're going to get another raise. So if we make $125,000, can we buy this property? And that $460,000 that we were shooting for does fit within the moderate and the aggressive, right? So could we buy more of a home? Sure, of course. But here, I think we're good. So what we're going to do is $125,000 is what we would need in order to buy this home. Is this making sense? Let me know if you have any questions on this. We're going through different scenarios just to see the income level necessary to purchase these homes in Glen Heights. We went on the least expensive home, which was this. We found a medium priced home in the area. So I think we went based off of this one, which is a new construction, which a quick aside here, with new construction, you could actually get a much lower rate. I probably shouldn't say this, but it's true. You're going to get, it's not probably, you're going to get a much lower interest rate because the builders right now are buying down interest rates like crazy, like nuts. Like you're talking about 3.99% right now. Mad, like crazy. Now, there are some caveats to that. Whenever you get that type of loan, it's not always going to be a fixed rate. Sometimes they'll do that. The first year would be 3.99% as an example. Your second year, they would raise it up to 4.99%, and then they would stabilize at whatever the market was giving you at that time. Just as a small aside there. Anyway, 460, we got that covered. Now, if we're gonna buy this house at $668,000, we need to go back to the well and we need to make some more money. So let's say we make $175,000. I always forget. So 667. All right, so that's close enough. So 668 is what we needed to hit here, and that is hit right there. So we need to make $175,000 to buy this house at $668,000. This is a breakdown on how much income you need to make per year in order to buy these homes in Glen Heights. The lowest is $255 available for sale right now, and that would be $70,000 that you would need to make. The mid-priced home in Glen Heights right now is $460,000, and what you would need to make in order to be approved for that type of property is $125,000. And the most expensive home in Glen Heights at the moment is $668,000. You would need to make about $175,000 in order to purchase this home. Now, with that being said, if you were going to buy a home in Glen Heights, that's roughly $452,000, which is really the medium price home in Glen Heights at the moment, based off of what we saw at the beginning before we clicked on one of the properties and started looking at properties. So the median price would be around here, give or take, right around here. If you were going to buy this home, here's how that would look on paper from a mortgage perspective, down payment, and everything in between. If you're going to buy this home, the down payment that you would need would be about $22,600. That would be a 5% down payment. Could you buy it for less? Yes, you could actually do 3% down if you were getting a conventional loan, or 3.5% if you were getting an FHA. Your estimated closing cost would be about $11,300. So if you, closing costs, essentially think of your title work, your appraisers, your lender cost, title fees, all of that put together, that's what your estimated closing cost would be. So for you to come to the closing table, you would need to come with $34,000. You add this and this, that's what you would need to come to the closing table with. So $34,000, you either wire that into the title company or have a cashier's check. Now what that would mean for you in the monthly mortgage payment, you're looking at $4,083. So that would mean $2,731 goes into your principal and interest. So your principal is how much you owe. Interest is how much you are paying for that loan. Property taxes is why it's so important that we understand property taxes in this particular case, because property taxes are a big part of your monthly mortgage payment. So as you can see here, you're paying $821,000 in property taxes. Now, I promised you that I was going to give you the difference between the assessed value and the market value. The market value is what we're actually calculating right now. We're pretending that this home is being sold and bought at $452,000. That is the market value. So the property taxes here, we are calculating it based off of market value. I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be paying less in property taxes, meaning that this number is a little bit inflated out of precaution, out of being conservative, because your assessed value is going to be less. The assessed value is going to be a percentage of the market value oftentimes, and also because you are going to be able to apply homestead exemptions to your property. So that means it's going to lower the assessed value even more. You're going to be able to apply any other exemptions that you qualify for, like disability, being over 65, you served in the military, some other tax credits basically. So a way to drop your assessed value. And you can also protest your property taxes every single year. So in order to protest your property taxes, you're essentially protesting the assessed value of your home. So your assessed value of the home, of a home that you buy for $452,000, most likely the assessed value, if the previous owner did a good job at protesting property taxes, if you build enough of a good case, you're probably paying the assessed value of $405,000, $415,000. So you're paying off of a lower number of the assessed. So that's what the assessed value would be. So that's what the county appraisal district would charge against. So that 2.18% of the property tax would be times that, as opposed to the market. I know it's a little bit, it's more of a visual thing, but just giving you an idea that this property taxes are going to be on the higher side out of precaution for you. So the true property taxes are going to be roughly, if I had to guess, like $750 or so. So it's not like we're not overshooting it by $1 million by any stretch of the imagination, but we are overshooting it. So I wanted to give you that preciseness there. Homeowners insurance. This was an estimated premium that we did here. So our homeowners insurance, we're pretending it's going to be about $283 per month. Our mortgage insurance here again, since we did not put 20% down on the purchase of this property, we're looking at $215. And then the homeowners association, technically it's added here just so you see it from a budgetary perspective, and also to qualify for the loan, you're gonna also need to have this information, but it's not gonna be paid in your monthly mortgage payment. You're not gonna see this line item in your statement to your servicer. This is something that you pay at the beginning of the year via an invoice. So the homeowners association is going to send out these invoices towards the end of the year, and you're going to be paying it at the beginning of the year. So that, again, this is not going to go as part of your monthly mortgage payment, but we do like to call that out from the beginning. Folks, hopefully this had, there's some value in here. Hopefully you now know how much you need to make in order to purchase a home in Glen Heights. If there's anything that we could ever do for you, let us know. Our contact information is down below. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we would love to support you. Outside of that, if there's something you want to see on this YouTube channel, let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe on your way out. Outside of that, see you on the next one. Bye.